Hi, my name is Sean. Welcome to episode 4 of Come On Man, That's a Conspiracy Theory. Well, I'm going to do a deep dive today now on something else. I'm going to do a deep dive on to the root cause of everything we're seeing right now as far as censorship, vaccine push, lockdowns, emergency measures. Where's that coming from? See, I've been for the past 24 years in my career, I've been doing one thing, and that's troubleshooting from everything: servers, computers, network equipment, network security tools, cybersecurity tools. I've been troubleshooting at all levels. So when you're doing a troubleshooting exercise, when you're trying to troubleshoot whether it's software or it's hardware, you try to determine the root cause. What is the cause of all of these things that we're seeing? For example, in a computer or a network. Same thing. What's the cause of everything? Well, it starts with one thing: national emergency. And the various levers of governmental power and authority that is activated once national emergency is called out. And what am I speaking to? Well, I'm talking about the COVID-19 national emergency crisis. Because never let a crisis go to waste, as they say. So I'm going to take you on a little journey. The journey is going to be to phe.gov. So I'm going to type phe.gov COVID renewal. What is phe.gov? Well, let's click on it. It is the public health and medical emergency support for a nation prepared. The Office of the Assistant Secretary for Preparedness and Response, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. So when the pandemic was declared, what happens is that every 90 days, there needs to be a renewal that's put in. I bet you most people didn't know that. I'm about to show you. So we're going to click on Public Health Emergency Declarations, and you'll see a bunch of one for Hurricane Ida, COVID-19. So I'm going to take you to the renewal of a determination that a public health emergency exists as a result of the continued consequences of coronavirus disease, April 21st, 2020. As a result of the continued consequences of the coronavirus disease, formerly called the 2019 novel coronavirus, on this date, after consultation with public health officials as necessary, Alex Azar, who was the Secretary of the Health and Human Services, pursuant to the authority vested in me under Section 319 of the Public Health Services Act, do hereby renew, effective April 26, 2020, my January 31st, 2020 determination that a public health emergency exists and has existed since January 27, 2020. This happens every 90 days. So I'm going to show you. So April 21st, 2020, COVID-19, July 23rd, 2020, the same language, as a result of the continued consequences, blah, 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 vested in me, yada, yada, yada. Every 90 days, a national emergency is always being renewed. So let's go. I just want to keep showing that it's, and this time I'm not going to even click on it. I'll wait till I do the last one. So July 23rd, COVID again, October 2nd, 2020, renewal. January 7th, renewal. April 15th, renewal. of the COVID crisis. And July 19, 2021. And we're going to be getting a new update here shortly. So July 19, 2021 was the last time it was renewed. It says he's going to renew it from, and this is, I want to read this last one. As a result of the continued consequences of the coronavirus 2019 disease, COVID-19 pandemic, on this date, after consultation with public health officials as necessary, Javier Becerra, who's the Secretary of Health and Human Services, pursuant to the under Biden, vested in me under Section 319 of the Public Health Services Act, do hereby renew effective July 20th, the January 31st, 2020 determination by former Secretary Alex M. Azar that he previously renewed on April 21st, 2020, July 23rd, 2020, October 2nd, 2020, and January 7th, 2021, and that I renewed on April 15th, 2021, that a public health emergency exists and has existed since January 27, 2020. Why is this important? Why am I even discussing this? Because when a public, and I'm going to get to that. Before I get to that, I'm going to show you that when President Trump announced on, what day did he announce, by the way? When he came out and says, I am going full on national emergency mode. It was March 13th. 2020, Friday the 13th. And the time he announces it is at 3:32 to 3:33 p.m. 33. Someone put down in the comment below if you figured out what I'm trying to allude to here. But let's hear President Trump.
To unleash the full power of the federal government in this effort today, I am officially declaring a national emergency. Two very big words. The action I am taking will open up access to up to $50 billion of very important and a large amount of money for states and territories and localities in our shared fight against this disease. In furtherance of the order, I'm urging every state to set up emergency operation centers effective immediately. You're going to be hearing from some of the largest companies and greatest retailers and medical companies in the world. They're standing right behind me and inside of me. I'm also asking every hospital in this country to activate its emergency preparedness plan so that they can meet the needs of Americans everywhere. The hospitals are very engaged. New York and various other places are also very engaged.
So he told all state and local governments to activate their emergency preparedness. Hospitals to activate their emergency preparedness. Sounds okay, cool, that's good. What is the scope of going into a crisis? What authority does this grant the government over its people during a crisis? You know what? I'm going to let the GOAT, a man who has been deplatformed for many years now for being at the forefront of the truth movement. I'm going to let the man, the GOAT, the greatest of all time when it comes to bringing the truth to the forefront for the past 20 years, I'm going to let him take it away. And I'm going to give him the platform that he so absolutely deserves. I'm going to play a clip from his movie, Police State for the Rise of FEMA. Listen to what gets activated in a national emergency. What executive orders and power that gives the government.
Executive orders. This is how they introduce you. See, they're introducing it all. They've denied they're building all this for all these decades. Now as they unveil it, they're putting their PR spin on it. So Executive Order 10,990 allows the government to take over all modes of transportation and control of highways and seaports. That's been reaffirmed under PDD 51. under the John Warner Defense Authorization Act and others. Executive Order 10,995 allows the government to seize and control the communication media. Executive Order 10,997 allows the government to take over all electrical power, gas, petroleum, fuels, and minerals. Executive Order 10998 allows the government to seize all means of transportation, including personal cars, trucks, and vehicles of any kind, and total control over all highways, seaports, and waterways. Executive Order 10999 allows the government to take over all food resources and farms. Executive Order 11,000 allows the government to mobilize civilians into work brigades under government supervision. Executive Order 11,001 allows the government to take over all health, education, welfare functions. What's happening through the imploded economy that the foreign central banks are engineering? Do they make you be beholden to the government? Designates the Postmaster General to operate a national registration of all persons. That goes on through the Selective Service. Executive Order 11003 allows the government to take over all airports, aircraft, including commercial aircraft. Remember when they shut down all flights after 9/11? Executive Order 11004 allows the Housing and Finance Authority to relocate communities, build new housing with public funds, designate areas to be abandoned, and establish new locations for populations. Remember Louisiana, Mississippi, Katrina?
Brownie, you're doing a heck of a job. The FEMA director is working really hard.
Executive Order 11005 allows the government to take over all railroads, inland waterways, and public storage facilities. Executive Order 11,051 specifies the responsibility of the Office of Emergency Planning and gives authorization to put all executive orders into effect in times of increased international tensions and economic or financial crises. Executive Order 11,310 grants authority to the Department of Justice to enforce the plans set out in executive orders, to institute industrial support, to establish judicial and legislative liaison, to control all aliens, to operate penal and correctional institutions, and to advise and assist the President. So that's your FEMA camps. Executive Order 11,049 assigns emergency preparedness functions to federal departments and agencies, consolidating 21 operational executive orders issued at 15-year period. Executive Order 11,921 allows the Federal Emergency Preparedness Agency to develop plans to establish control over the mechanisms of production and distribution of energy sources, wage salaries, credit, and the flow of money in U.S. financial institution, and any undefined national emergency. It also provides that when a state of emergency is declared by the President, Congress cannot review the action for 6 months. PDD 51 says never.
Thank you, Alex Jones. Appreciate it. And be sure to go to Infowars.com and ban that video. I couldn't have said it better myself. I had to let the man say it himself. Because the man has told us everything from the jump, from the get-go. All of these executive orders were already being put in place for many years in preparation for a moment like this, a crisis that will reshape, reinvent, redesign, reset the society. Come on, man. That's a conspiracy theory. Now you understand what national emergency does and what it can do. How much power and loopholes the government can now take their full liberty of, and which liberty is going to go away, you think? Think about that for a second. Do you think they're going to take their liberties away? No, they're going to take away our liberties. Come on, man. That's a conspiracy theory, though. Stay tuned for the next one.